Okay, it's time for Ines's and Cyrus's desert date. Where he catches her. So, let's see if it plays out the same or if maybe it's a little more close. I don't know. We'll find out. We spent our days waiting on word from King Jereme. In the meantime, Sir Ines and I decided to take camels out to the edge of Cainabel, both to patrol and to tour the country. We wanted to gather as much information as we could for the heights, no matter how trivial. You're really good at handling your camels, Sir Ines.
You don't have to praise me over every little thing. It makes me feel like a toddler.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it bothered you.
It's alright. As you get older, people don't tend to compliment you as much. It's a nice change of pace, at least.
And I think I did this last time. Didn't get an up, so probably this one. There it is. Then is it alright if I continue to share my personal opinions with you? In moderation, of course.
Yes, in moderation.
That's a relief. I owe you so much, Sir Ines, and I've looked up to you for such a long time. But even beyond that, you deserve respect. I don't know what I would do if you told me to stop.
Oh? What if I had?
What? Please, don't tease me like that.
Sorry.
Teasing? How scandalous.
I see it, over there. Let's go, Cyrus.
Right. Alright, to the oasis. I never expected to find a spring in the middle of the desert like this.
Me neither. But apparently this is a well-known landmark among the people who live here. There's a tent set up. No one's here right now, but it looks like it's been recently used.
It has Cainabel's national emblem on it. Maybe it's here for anyone who needs it.
Perhaps. Why don't we take a little break ourselves?
We tied our reins to the hitching post next to the tent and tended to the camels who had served us so well on our journey. They were very comfortable with people and nuzzled us when we stroked their heads.
I'm going to have a look around. Spend your time however you like.
No, I want to...
It's fine. Just rest up.
I'm not tired, though. If I can spend my time however I like, then I'd rather go with him. I had no idea what to do on my own in a place like this. I guess I can look at the spring. I stood at the edge of the water and took in my surroundings. Peculiar trees with long and narrow trunks grew around the emerald green pool. That was the extent of my ability to describe it. I bet Eltcreed would have had a lot more to say. He had expressed a desire to come, but instead he was staying with Saint Yune in case something happened. His decision, naturally. He tended to come across as wild and free-spirited, but he knew how to compose himself when the situation warranted. I'll burn this image into my memory since Eltcreed couldn't be here. Burning into the memory... I crouched down and dipped my hand into the water. It feels cold, but I wonder if that's just because the sun is so hot. Fish. Desert springs have fish in them? There were no animals living in the springs in the heights. They were artificial, which I realized after I compared them to the springs in the depths. How are there fish here? Doesn't the spring ever dry up? Burning into the memory more? I leaned forward to get a closer look at what kind of fish they were when...
Cyrus!
I snapped back to reality, immediately bolting upright. Then I lost my balance and felt myself pitching forward. I shut my eyes and braced myself for impact. But it never came. Instead, I was suddenly yanked back. Ta-da! He's got you, girl. Hold on. Boop. There we go. Also, was my mouse in the middle of the screen the entire time? Possibly. If so, I apologize. Actually, it may have vanished before. That's okay, too. I like that her locket is, like, very visible in the CG as well. It was something I noticed before, and I'm just like, the connection. So good. Serena's.
I almost sent you tumbling into that spring there. Sorry about that.
Not at all. Thank you for catching me. I would have dried out quickly in this weather, but it still would have delayed us. You can let go of me now.
Right. Sorry.
Heh. So cute.
I, of all people, should have... You were standing very close to that spring. What was so interesting about it?
It was the fish that caught my attention. I can't believe there are fish here.
Really? I wonder if the spring...
What is it?
Someone's coming. That direction.
I turned to look where he was pointing and saw a group of riders on camelback approaching us. They don't look like soldiers. Traveling merchants, maybe?
They're too far to say for certain. I don't think they're bandits, but let's keep our guard up.
Right. I'll run and grab the camels so we can make a quick retreat if we have to. I quickly returned to the tent and untied our mounts. The party of riders arrived at the oasis just as I returned to Sir Ines' side. They all hopped down to the ground together. The one who had been riding in front approached us on foot. The mystery group.
Good afternoon. Are you from Cainabel?
Does that mean you aren't?
It does. But we aren't looking for trouble. We're just a caravan passing through.
What's a caravan?
You don't know that word? How strange. Even children who grow up in the desert are familiar with caravans.
Uh-oh. Sir Ines cleared his throat slightly as I panicked over my mistake.
You assume too much. Prior to coming of age, the young miss here spent her entire childhood behind closed doors. Her whole world was nothing but a single cramped room before now. Naturally, I could explain it to her, but this is the perfect opportunity for her to learn directly from the source.
You poor thing. Young lady, a caravan is a group of merchants that travels the desert together. We move from place to place, guided by the wind.
A convoy, in other words. I just nodded and said thank you to avoid any further trouble. If they're just a convoy, then we can probably relax. Wait. You don't have many goods or supplies for a group of traveling merchants, do you? There was only one animal per person, and their loads were light. Even the camels I had seen transporting goods in town carried more than them.
It makes traveling easier. We're on our way to stock up in Cainabel.
I see. Young miss, I think it's about time we return to the estate. The master will be worried if we aren't back before sundown.
Yes, you're right. Thank you for the informative conversation. We'll take our leave now.
Of course. Have a nice day, you two. Who ever heard of a sheltered girl carrying a sword?
Dun dun dun. And nothing really came of that when we were in Eltcreed. I don't know if we're gonna get a little more on this line now with Ines, but we'll see. We returned to the desert, leaving the oasis behind. I took one last look at the caravan before setting my sights on Sir Ines' camel in front of me. He's going kind of fast. I spurred my camel on so I could ride alongside him. What's wrong, Sir Ines?
Those were no merchants.
What do you mean?
Their posture, their positioning. Merchants usually travel tightly in groups. It didn't seem natural. They may have been soldiers. Either that or they've had military training.
Why would a group of soldiers pose as merchants on their way to Cainabel?
I don't know. But we should report this as soon as possible. Let's hurry, Cyrus.
And so we did. Did we skip the report? Is this the same old, same old? Yes, we get to meet Kalsar! And Yune gets to have his awesome moment. Good on you, Yune. Okay, so that is the same in Jereme's perspective. Okay, I'll skip ahead a little bit, guys, and bring you in shortly. Okay, we actually skipped a fair bit. We've finally reunited with our group, and from the looks of things, the plan's changing a bit. So, when we were with Eltcreed, we were just kind of by ourselves, and Elt went with Ulrik. Now, and Ines and Finn were in town. But now Eltcreed's saying just Finn's going to town. So am I teaming up with Ines again? Because all I want right now in this moment is a new back-to-back fighting pose of Ines and Cyrus, like when they fought back-to-back in the original Steam Prison. That's all I want. It'd be great. I'd love it. So let's see if it happens.
First, Finn will go into town. I anticipate a separate advance party will arrive ahead of the enemy's main forces. Please try to help as many people as you can, dealing with the enemy as you spot them.
You mean fight them in the streets?
Yes, and don't forget about all the civilians nearby. This should be right up your alley as a police officer, shouldn't it?
I'm used to it, but it's not something I can do alone.
In that case, please prioritize the civilians. Cainabel soldiers will likely have their hands full protecting the king, so let's buy them as much time as we can. Adage will provide medical support.
Not the most creative choice.
Oh? Were you hoping for a chance to shine on the battlefield?
As if you had any intention to yourself. No matter what you say, you're the one who stands to gain the most from all this. Fine, I accept your assignment, but only because there's nothing else I can do.
Thank you. I'm counting on you, Adage. And as for Saint Yune...
You want me on the battlefield? No problem.
Wow, did you read my mind?
I'm afraid that's not one of my abilities. I can pray, but I can't make miracles happen. I've never used my power like this before, so I'm not sure how it's going to turn out. I think it will be alright, though.
That's what I'm hoping for. It's essential to my plan. Meanwhile, I've reserved front row seats for myself and Ulrik. Let's show the enemy what we can do when we work together.
Are you insane? I refuse. I'm staying back here.
I was only joking. Explaining it in depth would take too long. I'll fill you in on the details later.
Wait, so what are me and Ines? Okay, I'm like, and so what are me and Ines doing exactly?
And last is Cyrus and Heine.
Uh-huh. Me and Heine. What are we doing? What's our assignment? Guard the entrance. It could happen. My CG wish could still happen. I know he told us to guard the palace entrance, but... is it really okay for us to just stand by like this?
It's rare to hear you express dissatisfaction with your assignment.
I'm sorry. I just can't help thinking about it. Wouldn't it be better for us to be out on the battlefield instead of wasting time here doing nothing?
Your inexperience is showing. Not that I know much about military strategy myself. Someone I'm indebted to once said that the most important part of war is how you lose.
Someone you're indebted to?
Yes, the former commander of the Hounds, Soxon, would always shout that nothing was sweeter than victory.
That guy jumps down everyone's throat, doesn't he?
He's calmed down considerably. He used to constantly bark out orders. Like Soxon said, victory would be ideal, but it isn't always possible. What's more important is how you lose. It depends on the circumstances, but say for instance that the enemy's main force is about to be defeated. On the battlefield, we would seem to be the victors. But what if the main force was meant as a decoy, while a separate detachment apprehended King Jereme?
They could negotiate using him as a hostage.
That's right. That's why it isn't a waste for us to stand guard here. Hopefully we don't have to do anything, but that doesn't mean we haven't done anything. Does that make you feel any better?
Yes. I apologize for my childish behavior before.
I think it was appropriate, given your age. We're on duty right now, so this is the perfect time for self-reflection.
Serena's?
There's a suspicious group approaching.
Fight? Fight?
Stop right there! We won't let you pass!
Ha! What can the two of you do against us?
There are at least 5 of them. Maybe more from the way he talks. Serena's.
There aren't that many. We can handle them on our own. We'll flank them and take them down one at a time. Let's go, Cyrus!
Right! Please, 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 please. Yay! Not back to back, but they are fighting together again. That's all I wanted. Hold on. Boop. Delightful. Love it. Good teamwork. No more words were necessary. They each descended on the enemy from opposite sides. One glimpse of the Grendel soldiers in front of them was all it took to grasp the situation. Oh, this is like from the outside. So this isn't even Cyrus's point of view. How weird to suddenly jump to a third-person perspective. Okay. Cyrus was the first to rush in. She moved like a bolt of lightning, and her brilliant skill with the sword instantly drew the attention of the enemy. Meanwhile, Ines was ready and used Cyrus's distraction to circle around behind them. Hearts raced and tension soared. The moment of battle had arrived. Cyrus's sword rang out against an enemy's shield, throwing him slightly off balance. Ines seized on the opportunity and ran him through from behind. A look of shock came over the enemy soldier's face, but it was too late. The sword had already pierced his shoulder. The man fell to his knees, unable to stand. Meanwhile, Cyrus turned her attention to the next one. By repeating the same pattern, they brought down the enemy one by one. The pair's coordination was flawless. Each movement was precisely calculated, allowing them to predict and respond to their opponent's actions. They flanked and took down every last one. It was like an intricate dance. The two were unstoppable together. Yeah, they were. I love that. Love that for them. Good job. I assume this is all different too, so I'll just keep going.
Would you look at that, Ulrik? The enemy is scattering just like you do whenever I catch you sneaking food.
Don't you mean like cockroaches?
Yes, that is the typical expression. Though I've never seen a group of cockroaches scatter, so it's difficult for me to picture. I have seen you, however.
Whatever. Just stay focused.
You must be upset. That's the 13th time you've snapped at me today. Alright. The enemy is 2,900 meters away at 10 o'clock. Once they're within 800 meters, we can launch our fire attack.
Eltcreed and the buggy. What did this happen before and I just don't remember? I feel like I wouldn't have blocked this out. What are they doing? That's great.
You know, I've been thinking about this for a while now, but fire attack is the lamest, stupidest name I've ever heard.
Ah, but it's so simple and easy to understand. We're literally launching fire from the front of the buggy. By coupling gas pumps with the buggy's fuel tanks, we can use pressurized gas to shoot flames out. Kids, don't try this at home. I'm not a kid, so I'm allowed.
Who are you talking to?
From their perspective, we'll be a terrifying fire-breathing monster. Let's break their formation before they regroup.
Good lord. Hey Finn, how are you doing by yourself? I hope you're okay. Please don't die over here.
Everyone, please proceed in a calm and orderly fashion. There are explosions everywhere. I'm pretty sure plainclothes enemy soldiers are hiding among the civilians.
Gah! I missed!
So it seems. But I appreciate you revealing yourself. I'm putting a stop to you, here and now!
I believe in you, Finn. You got this. Meanwhile, Yune. Is this the same as usual or no? Yes. Flying arrows of death. Ta-da! I wonder if Cyrus, like, chills with Yune during the scene later. That would be kind of amazing, not gonna lie. Cool. Brotherly love saves the day. You get out of here, Kalsar, you suck. Alright. Chop? Chippy chop? Was that all that happened? Yes, we had a chippy chop. Ha!
Cyrus, it looks like you're finished too.
I paused at his words, my sword held high overhead. Meanwhile, Sir Ines slid his blade back into its sheath. The sound seemed to momentarily ease his tension. As long as you're safe, Sir Ines. I checked him over to confirm. His tension had subsided, but his eyes still darted back and forth, searching for the enemy. I really didn't expect to encounter enemy soldiers here. It looks like it was the right choice to stay at our post. If I had rushed out onto the battlefield like I'd wanted to, then right now, I'm embarrassed by my immaturity. Sir Ines gave a slight nod in response. It was because of our response that we achieved victory here today.
Don't be so hard on yourself. We stood our ground and kept the enemy from breaking through. That's all that matters.
Right. The explosions coming from the city are concerning, though. I wonder if something... All at once, I heard the distant sound of a whistle. What is that?
I don't know. It must be some sort of signal. Keep your guard up.
Right. Sir Enos's voice brought me back to Earth, and I surveyed my surroundings once more. I had no idea what it could mean, but it was unmistakably a signal of some kind. I strained my ears, listening to the sounds of explosions in the distance. I didn't know what that whistle meant, but I prayed that it was nothing bad. Okay. Was the whistle... Elt? I'm trying to remember. The whistle seems familiar to me, but I can't place it at all. Are we caught up? We're caught up. We get thanked. And it's our last day. Well, I assume Finn didn't die, so that's good. It was our final day in Cainabel. Sir Ines and I were helping out in town. Ah, you guys are so good. But clearing rubble from the streets and hauling it away was work that anyone could do. The people of this country were the ones who had to rebuild, not us.
I think we're about done here, Cyrus.
Wait a second, there's just one more thing.
Why are you crouched down like that?
I'm looking for a ring.
A ring?
Yes. A relative of the handmaiden who's been taking care of me lost it during the evacuation. She asked me to help look for it.
I see. In that case, I'll help too.
Stop, you guys are looking for lost jewelry together now? It's too cute.
What sort of... Wait, never mind. I don't need the specifics. Rings don't just fall off every day, do they?
No, they don't. How did you ever manage to find it, Sir Ines?
Find what?
My pendant. Teach me your secrets.
I wouldn't say there's any secret. It's not as though I'm particularly skilled at finding things. I just stumbled across your pendant by chance.
Really? All this time I thought he went looking for it.
What's wrong, Cyrus?
It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Apparently I had been idealizing the past. A tiny hole opened in my fragile heart. But even if he only found it by coincidence, that didn't change the fact that he'd returned it to me.
We're not going to get anywhere looking in random places like this. Can we narrow it down? Are there any clues we could use?
Well, it sounds like they were in a hurry, and I heard she tripped around here. That's why I've been focusing on this area. Except...
You haven't found it.
No. What if someone else picked it up already?
It's certainly a possibility. What if we take a step back? Which direction was she headed when she fell?
Oh. I'm afraid I didn't ask about that, but... If we look at these footprints, they all seem to be headed that way. It's likely she bumped into another evacuee.
I see. In that case, what about over here?
Sir Ines took several steps away and crouched down. Before I knew why, I was crouching down too. What makes you think it's over here?
Just my intuition. But look, here it is.
Ah! It was buried in the sand!
Everything must have been so chaotic, it was impossible to avoid bumping into other people. It's easy to imagine someone could have kicked it. A kicked ring would get buried in the sand and then perhaps stepped on. That's all just speculation, but at least we found it.
Well done, Sherlock. Yes, the handmaiden will be so happy. You really are good at finding things, Sir Ines. Even if you don't think so, I'll never stop believing it.
It makes me uncomfortable to be put up on a pedestal like that, but do what you like, I guess. Well, shall we be going? We don't want to be late.
Late to what?
You'll see when we get there.